consciously eating.
Or with casting different games together.
That would be indeed very strange.
7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, I am paused.
Very good.
Anymore.
All right. So I'm gonna unpause on 3. Like I'm counting down from 3. So 3,
Yep.
2, 1, go. Hello, hello, hello. Another day, another video. And this time we're gonna take a look at a 2v2 once again. Pro League Season 4 is in full force. And today I have one of... I think we already casted twice. Yeah, I think 2 times we already casted together. So Stevie Nader.
We did a couple of these now.
Yeah, very good, very good. Nice to have you. So yeah, exclamation site, my map, 2v2 is the theme. What do you think of the map? As a content creator and a map creator.
It's really interesting. I only played it once, and it definitely made for a really neat game. I think like some features to point out: the shared natural. You can split one castle between the two if you want, or you can be safe and throw 2 castles there. And like with how defensible that position is, I think it encourages kind of quickly ramping up to macro play. So I think we should expect a pretty big game on here.
Yeah, I hope so. And yeah, and that, indeed it was the intention to have like the option to go for very short early game stuff. And in general, I think it's very discouraging to see the map layout, to proxy something and try to kind of aggro your way through the early game and kind of claw a win here with pressure, because it's so easy to wall and it's very easy to hold even with this very narrow location right in the front of the 2 castles from the players. So in general, I think it's a game where you kind of have to play longer games, and you kind of want to take this. At least one of the players should take this double mining castle opportunity. And we see Holy is just doing that. While,
with a fast expand build, that's a huge econ for Holy. But you know, right as we're saying this big game stuff, NewType and Tomas are going straight for some cheese. So this is gonna be really hard to hold with the way SlyFox has set up his base.
Yeah, might be troublesome in the early game. What we have, like, we have approximately 1 raider, and this 1 raider will fight a raider and a wolf, I guess. So that's not looking too good for Sly's raider here, and I guess he's gonna set up a base even and skipping the 2nd raider. So oof, that might be that might be an issue. Let's see how this goes. And NewType, where's the NewType got a raider as well. So from his main base he has a Rex, and then he kind of proxied the Sten here. Oof, that's looking rough.
Proxy Rax and proxy Den with another Rax at home. That's 2 pretty aggressive builds against 2 very economy builds. I wonder if they are queued in yet, right? These raiders are hitting in a weird spot.
Yeah. It looks like one of NewType's raider is in. But there's already 1 wolf. Not doing too much damage here. But yeah, SlyFox looks like in the natural he's in a world of trouble right now.
Yeah, you want to be fighting when you're defending against cheese. You want to be fighting in your worker line, but the way they're basically laid out, you're not really forcing your opponent to walk through those worker lines, and so that's going to make it really hard to defend this.
Yeah, let's see. I mean, now they kind of ignore the stuff down here from Sly, and kind of move into this natural from Holy, kind of. So yeah, 1 tower is about to be finished, but not sure.
It's kind of in the wrong place there.
Yeah, it's very far off, right? Not hitting anything, like not securing the workers here.
He's gonna try to bait him back into that corner.
Yeah, I guess he just wanted to wall off here. Yeah, now SlyFox from behind with a raider can pick off a raider and a wolf or what? The wolves and the workers now fighting together. So far, it looks like a great coordination here by Holy and Sly. They have played quite a bunch of games together. I know that, but seeing how they kind of align with each other is pretty impressive, man.
Yeah, I like that. If you're going to do a double cheese kind of play, you really got to make sure those armies are together and fighting, and then that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
You know, it's okay if SlyFox and Holy lose a couple workers just because of that super econ in the back with Holy on the fast expand build, but you know, this could snowball really quick here.
Yeah, but it looks like they hold this with all the wolves from Holy now. I think they weathered the storm, kinda. And now the question is, how are we moving forward? For Thomas, okay, Thomas taking the second the second base here, so the opportunity for NewType to set up a double castle, like a double mining castle, is gone. So yeah, NewType and Thomas kind of want to take this mine each, and yeah, Thomas already going for a second expansion, while his natural is not even saturated. But he's having also a lot of workers in his main. He should transfer some over. And yeah, so far I think SlyFox and Holy are both in the driver's seat right now. I mean, kind of looks unlosable now with all the 3 dens. With if we take a look at the unit counts, we have
4 coming out.
yeah, it's really looking good for Team Holy and Sly now. But let's see.
Yeah, I feel like that cheese should have done more than it did with the fast expand they were playing into.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it was just simply like a micro issue there. Like you said, they did seem to have their armies grouped up, which is well, but I think they just lost too many raiders early on.
That might be the case.
I think, you know, I played Holy recently. We didn't get to finish that game, unfortunately, but he was looking really strong. I think he's a player I haven't seen around too much, but all of a sudden is really up in his game. So
Yeah.
I think having him on the econ boom on this side is going to be really, really great for their mid game and end game.
Yeah. Yeah, but he's not getting in with the wolves now because Thomas kind of blocked this one off with the tower as well. So interesting decision here. So Holy and Sly kind of blocked themselves out of the upper part of the map, and Thomas and NewType kind of did the same, but with the lower part of the map. So interesting to see how how they progress now, because I think Holy wants to get in really.
In the last 2v2 you casted as well with this like block off of
Yeah.
and like the wolves knocking at the door.
Oh, and look at this.
Oh yeah, they're blocking both sides off. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, Thomas now closing the other gap as well. Like that's questionable, I think. I mean, NewType going into air, he's really, I don't know. I think he just doesn't care. But Thomas here going for Rex stuff. I mean, he sooner rather than later needs to kill one of these buildings to move out, right? I mean, there's no way around it.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
as soon as you see this from the other perspective, you can just immediately take greedy bases.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny seeing them both expanding downwards with Holy. Like, I think he, at some point, needs to consider killing that tower so he can expand upwards. It's much safer to be up in that part of the map.
Yeah. Although, I mean, I like this idea of taking this base down here. Really, really neat idea. And a very unique setup as well. Like, you barely see that happening. That you, like, have to walk up to mine from a mine where you cannot really guard the mine, so it's really out there and really exposed.
Very exposed. Very exposed.
But taking it, I mean, is very, very ballsy, but at the same time it makes sense, because as you already pointed out, I mean, your opponent kind of blocked himself in, so to say, not even out. So yeah, interesting to see how. I mean, what's the game plan for NewType and Thomas now, really? Like, we only have the dragons, and I get, okay, you want to play air, but like, they cannot get further bases. Like, the income is kind of
they're now a base down, and they're, I don't know, it looks like they're getting a lot of production in place. Yeah. Maybe they're just going to wait for kind of the Rax army and the dragons to hit at the same time, but you know, you're ultimately just like mirroring your opponents and you're down a base, so I'm not sure how well that works.
Yeah. Although there is one layer more for NewType. I'm not too sure if he can really support the 3 dens with 2 expansions. But I guess if he's only doing dragons, that might work actually. But with Holy, I mean, he has map control now. He controls the middle. As we see, he kills a footman, no, a soldier. And yeah, the dragons will be the deciding factor. I guess we will see dragon fights now. NewType versus Holy.
Two layers on Holy's side, 3 layers on NewType side, but Holy's up a little quicker. So if this goes on for a while, we'll see more dragon production out of the green team here, and maybe that could push things in their favor. We do have an advanced workshop for SlyFox, where there's nothing on the other side of the map.
There are no, the dragons hit, and there's no tower, no archer. Okay, the archers come now. But yeah, he should really stop moving the workers, because if you don't do this, as you can see already, the workers are all getting damaged due to this weird AoE effect of this auto attack from the dragons. Yeah, now they are just kind of running around and trying to save the buildings and the workers. And Thomas is kind of in trouble here, because his layout is so bad for him and his Rex units to maneuver around. And we see,
you really got to stop position these workers.
yeah, and also like look at how many workers he has, like 20 workers at the natural. It's a bit much for my liking. Yeah, see, he's at 35 now, so already 5 workers too much for all the bases he has. So he really needs a base more, but he can do
this.
Yeah, that was a nice idea though. I think the idea is to have this damage from the AoE attack applied to the workers from Thomas. So, and now we see the dragons clash. So let's see who has the better dragon, Micro.
I think you're way ahead of me here. I'm catching up.
What's your timestamp?
Okay, now I'm up to 10:30.
10:30. I'm at 10:40 now.
Okay.
10:45.
Okay, I'm back. Catched up.
All right, perfect. Yeah. Now we see like the wolves don't do much, but I think the dragons. Oh, 4 more dragons coming for Holy. So this dragon fight is definitely going into Holy's favor now. And yeah, NewType kind of needs to retreat though. And look at this, like Holy is at 130.
Are a little bit better spread out. Looks like they're grouping up now, but
yeah,
with the AoE that comes into a huge play with these dragon versus dragon battles.
But also, like, look at the supply. Like Holy is at 130 closely, and NewType is still struggling to get to 100 with 80 supply currently. There are wolves, okay, but
archers will change the map though. I mean, getting the archers out on the map, now you can actually start to push these dragons back. But we're still like, look at all the bases in the bottom left, you know? These are starting to get saturated. SlyFox has the double mine there.
Yeah.
You know, white and green are just not really looking to expand yet, and they're running out of time.
Yeah. They are on a timer. Like, and now the ballista coming in from Sly as well. That will be very hard to kind of get out of this tough spot for NewType and Thomas here. Ooh, but Sly...
Looking at this map, I wouldn't have said it was such an air map, you know, with so much openness, the armies can move around.
Yeah, it really isn't. Yeah, it really isn't, but both teams...
Really the air is...
But yeah, nice catch here.
Big battle here, look at this.
Yeah, that's what you want to see when you have 2 vs 2. So the wolves fighting the soldiers, the dragons are in it and fighting each other, the archers running around.
It's hard to even tell what the math is, right? Like who has the bigger ground force here? It looks like the wolves are falling fast.
Yeah.
They're gonna have to retreat. But the econ is so strong, right? Like Holy should be able to rebuild this in seconds here for another fight.
Yeah, and it was kind of unfair battle because we had 2 versus 1, so to say. Like NewType with the dragons and the Rex units from Thomas, and everything which was there was from Holy. But he's buying a lot of time. Like Holy is really buying a lot of time for SlyFox here to get in full effect, and he's going for mages and priests and archers and.
We're gonna see the full tech spectrum here.
Yeah.
Holy's just finishing up a +1 attack on these dragons now, and there's a lot of them. There's going to be a small window where NewType doesn't have that +1 yet, so the math will be a little bit skewed.
That's a lot of dragons for Holy there. But there are also some archers, so maybe if Thomas turns around, but he seems to run.
Battle.
That's really looking like straight out of Lord of the Rings. Archers versus dragons.
Look at this, look at this. One thing I've been noticing about these 2v2s is that it's really hard to coordinate and like understand what your teammate is doing, where their army is.
Yeah.
And like if you can do this well, where you end up with both teammates fighting one of your opponents at a time and kind of keep repositioning so that happens, you can really get some efficient trades.
Yeah. And right now we see that kind of Holy and Sly kind of cleaning house here, and I think that will decide NewType and Thomas' fate, because now they don't really have anything. I mean, there are a few archers left, but there are so much dragons, so many dragons
finally
left.
Expanding, but you can't just run this whole game on 3 bases, you know.
Yeah. 2 versus 2 bases are so much more important than in 1 versus 1.
Yeah, NewType still on 2 bases.
And now the Dragons lose this, like, straight up. There is a Ballista, but this one Ballista, not sure if NewType has the upgrade, but this one Ballista will not do much here. And yeah, now Thomas loses his workers here. Yeah. It's kind of weird. Like, look at the archers spawning outside and some inside because of this weird building placement and the walling from Thomas off the side. Yeah, really weird. And he still has like 20 workers at his natural. He could just take some and send them to the third. Or yeah, is it the
These
third?
dragons are just ravaging the map, though.
Yeah, the map control
Doesn't
now
even care
is.
if he loses them, so he can just rebuild. You know, he's got
Yeah.
3 layers constantly pumping. He's got upgrades going.
Yeah, and look at this. Sly is finally moving into and playing this game with everyone else. We see an Invis priest here. I know he likes this invisibility feature, and he likes to use it. But in general, I mean, priests are just so shitty units. But anyways,
Yeah.
he tries to make it work. I mean, maybe priests are not that bad in 2 versus 2 as they are in 1 versus 1. Maybe they have like a play. But in general, I think mages are very better, and I would not invest into this feature with invisibility because it's too easily countered. And also with the priests
it's
here.
interesting though, because the counter cost is double, right? Like if one player goes priest, you have to kind of have detection at all your bases, or at least be like aware and moving your airships properly.
Yeah.
So there is something to be said about these strategies where both players have to counter what one player is doing.
Yeah. Yeah, as I said, I mean, maybe priests have like a place in 2 versus 2. Not sure about the healing though,
because you could be healing your opponent's, your allies' army as well.
Yeah.
And all these like workers that are hurt. We'll have to see if it develops into the meta. I do still think they seem quite weak.
Yeah. But you also, I mean, they are that weak because they were too strong in the past, and they got nerfed for a reason. So if we buff them back to what they were, we might see the same issues we had in the past. So maybe. I don't know. We have to think.
Balance.
We really have to think about how to balance them. But yeah, I mean, they kind of on a losing end, and it doesn't look like they can really change their ways. I mean, NewType just reproducing dragons after dragons, and although he
had 100 ballistas here. Look at all these ballistas on the map.
I mean, there are ballistas, fine.
Gotta do. Here come the invisible dragons.
Ooh.
They should be able to snipe some of these ballistas down. So I don't really see a way for NewType and Tomas to get back in this. I think they were in a really good positioning out of that opening, right? They kind of had the build order advantage.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the cheese just kind of didn't really get the damage it needed to. And then coming out of there, like, locking themselves into the base, they just had no map control, so they couldn't respond to what their opponents were doing. They didn't realize the level of economy going on the other side of the board. So even though they had really good army movements for those first couple fights and like took some decent fights, I thought it's just you can never catch up, right? Because as soon as both armies take losses, you can't rebuild as fast as your opponent. And so the rest of this game, you know, it's going to play out, but I think it's long over.
Yeah. Nothing to add here. Absolutely agree. But they have this fighting spirit, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, and I think cool to see a lot of these players, you know, bringing in interesting strategies. We're seeing protection research now, priest. We have like a full gamut of units on the map.
Yeah, it's pretty much Rex only, right? So Sly is really like playing archers, soldiers, mages, priests, but nothing else really. There is a catapult, so just to but that's really.
I think we need to see a werewolf, and then we'll have completed it. I think that's the only unit that hasn't been built yet.
Yeah.
Oh, and a snake too. We got a couple here.
Yeah, but they have no place now. Like it makes no sense to play them. Yeah, but in general, I think like the biggest takeaway here is like never box yourself in, like Thomas did, on two sides of the map. You always want to have at least one path where you can kind of expand on. But yeah, other than that, I think playing air is fine if your opponents don't really respond correctly, and you kind of can rely on that. But I think the moment you try to play air on this map versus someone who knows how to deal with it, that's yeah, not the best idea. Although you can kind of harass fine with dragons, you can fly around and stuff, but there is like a lot of open ground where you shouldn't move with your units and where you try to avoid. So you would be kind of stuck on the edges of the board with your air units. But in this kind of game, it worked out fine for Holy, and even getting in with the wolves now, yeah, kind of wrecking everything here because he saw there's only ballistas and workers. And yeah, NewType kind of done now. Let's see what Thomas is doing, but I think they will tap out soon. Yeah, there we have it. GG.
Yep. GG.
Yeah. Alright, second game. This time we have your map. I think it's well known already with the most players and the most viewers I have on my channel. I think it's always someone who knows 2 versus 2 and 1 versus 1 quite well. But yeah, sure, give us a little introduction to this very beautiful map.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it getting so much play. This was a map, like my first map I really made well was Acadia, right? We've seen a lot of games on that. And that map, when I made it, I was all focused on how to make like a really well-balanced map and like really focus on where the army movements would happen and think about it from that perspective. With this map, I took a different approach and just said like, okay, I want to find a map. I want to build a map that highlights this like lava flow look and feel. So it's much more aesthetically focused. And that does come out. I think there are some challenges with the map from competitive play that makes for slightly less like exciting battles at times, but I think it's balanced enough that you can still get some really interesting games on it. And I think people really like the idea of the aesthetic first map. So something definitely I want to focus on in my future maps.
What do you think of Thomas' approach here, blocking this pathway to his natural in that weird way? That makes not really sense to me, honestly.
Yeah, I don't love it. I mean, when you look at the double natural approach here, so this is actually a change to the map recently to make it a little bit more competitive. But you end up having 3 entrances into these naturals. And I think what you want to do is with your teammate strategize on what you want to block and where you want to funnel in incoming units.
Yeah,
because if you don't pre-think that out, I think you can get into a lot of trouble from early game cheese. But it is a really big map. It's a really long rush distance, and so in more standard type games, I don't think it doesn't even matter too much what your SimCity is, right? Because by the time the enemy gets there, you should have enough defense.
Yeah, I mean, what you're talking about with the 3 entrances, I think we see that. Holy was able to, like, is that closed down here at his natural? Like one...
Yeah, I like Holy's approach here. He's got this closed off at his natural, and then he's going to see anything coming in.
Yeah. I like this too. Then, I mean, he's doing the same as on the other game, the game before. Fast expansion into 2 then. And I think on bigger maps, that's the right approach, right? So you go for echo. It's not necessary to have units immediately because 1, you have the workers, then with the dens you have your wolves pretty quickly out there anyways, and with your opponent, I mean, what can they do to really pressure you early on a bigger map? Like, there's not really much, and with Sly going for 1 raider, we see it now. I mean, the raider from NewType is raving, and SlyFox is matching it with his own raider, so it's fine. The second raider from Thomas is not there yet, but still, I mean, it's okay. Sly lost his raider, but even though even then the raider is so dead, now the wolves are out, and yeah, both players are fine. So I think the approach here from Sly and Holy is just a bit more thought through.
A little more greedy.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's very safe on a bigger map. Like, you really have to proxy and kind of be very aggro in the early game to really punish them for that. And I think, yeah, we have yet to see that being played by someone. But the weeks to come, maybe someone punishes that kind of play. But yeah, it's 2v2. It's very new game mode, I would say, for the war game. So yeah, let's see.
It's definitely a lot to unpack, and we're seeing the size of the map come into play. Like, the SlyFox's radar looking for NewTypes and just didn't quite find it. A lot of the map to scout to look for proxies and things. but it's with this long rush distance, I kind of expect people to shoot right up to 3 bases. The thirds, one thing to note, are pretty exposed and kind of sitting out in front of the natural. So there definitely is a world where somebody could punish pretty hard by doing a 2-base push. Let's see how these guys want to play it.
And let's see how the skirmish goes here. I think Sly and Holy so far killed a lot of stuff already. But the Archer and the 2 Raiders are hard to deal with. Especially Archers are in the early game a bit troublesome.
Wolf Raider combo doing some damage.
Yeah.
They are going to get a couple workers. I think they can get out if they want to. It looks like they're going to keep pushing.
I think they run. Okay. And then lose some on the way out. Because the Raiders popping out and...
that third. That's that exposed third coming into play.
Yeah.
Hard to take.
Yeah. I don't really like the Thomas setup. He kind of blocked himself completely, and they have like one pathway what he has to kind of run around with his workers, for example. So I don't like the general setup and building placement here from NewType and Thomas. Looks like they haven't really played much together, so the synergy is not there yet. And also, maybe they are not that familiar with the map itself. But yeah, let's see who takes. I think the third base is very important here, because who takes it first is, I think, very important. And NewType kind of.
We are seeing a worker lead by NewType, despite only having that fast expand build unpunished. So
yeah,
it's pretty close though. I think we're gonna see pretty close economies. There's no clear winner yet.
It's double Rex versus Beast Rex. So let's see how that plays out. I think the Wolves fall off pretty hard, because there are so many Raiders for Thomas and especially NewType.
All over the place.
Yeah.
Are we going to see a third out of NewType coming up? Yeah, he's sending a worker now.
And SlyFox also building a third out there. Holy going for... Thomas already has the third up, so kind of, a little skirmish, and everyone is thinking of the third base. So far, it's pretty close, as you said. I really like that.
I do think, once again, we're seeing Tomas and NewType keep their armies pretty close together and getting some advantages in the fights based on that. I think it's a really efficient way to fight.
Yeah.
Really hard to do, right? It means you both need to be paying attention to the same things and kind of have the same ideas.
Yeah, I don't know if they were maybe in voice chat. Maybe that helps a lot in 2 versus 2. I like that SlyFox is just flying in with this airship, scouting around. I mean, there are archers, but he's just not scared at all, because this is a airship and has 250 HP, and it's kind of hard to kill. So yeah, I like this idea. Like, I mean,
scout off.
Just using it for scouting is very, very funny, and smart as well, because you need it kind of in the later stages when you do drops anyways, and why not use it when you have not the units, or you don't want to do the drops now? Just fly around, scare your opponent a bit, because if you see an airship, your first thought is like, there is something in it and it will drop somewhere, right? So
It's true. It'll buy you a lot of space on the map just by distracting the armies.
So it's kind of a nice move from Sly here.
Yeah, I tend to prefer sacrificing a Raider for this type of scout and then having a full airship follow. But it looks like they're not going for catapults or anything that's going to do big drop damage. So like you said, it's like getting that scout is important, knowing how many bases your opponent's on, knowing what tech is coming at you.
Yeah.
It's something that we're not seeing from Tomas or NewType nearly as much in these games.
Ooh, are you at 7:45 now? Because
I'm right behind you.
Okay.
Somehow you go a lot faster than me.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not speeding up anything, but we see a bigger fight now. Around 7:55, where the Wolf meet the Raiders, and now we see a bigger fight. Ooh, I want to see that.
A really good pullback micro by Tomas here, keeping those archers alive and doing damage.
Yeah, and NewType kind of leaves his archers stand in the open, and he's not he's not caring if the wolves eat them alive. So yeah, I think right now Thomas should push, right? I think Thomas and NewType should really push now.
NewType again winning the fights out on the map. I think they're doing a really good job with the micro. I don't think they're necessarily having like significantly better armies quantitatively or qualitatively. They're just kind of engaging these fights a little bit better, and that's going to give them advantage here.
Yeah, I
here
think
they go. They're walking across the map. It's the right thing to do.
Yeah. I hope they really go into it, because I think there are wolves coming from down there from Holy now. Maybe, yeah, maybe take another base and just hold this middle ground here. But now Thomas is kind of
Oh no,
caught. Oh, that's not
his
looking
wall
too
is
good.
sneaking ahead.
Yeah, NewType coming back with 4 archers. So let's see how this goes. Last raider dies. Not sure if there are. Okay, 1 raider is left for Sly, but other than that, all the units in the middle now and kind of meeting there. So yeah, I mean, from here you just want to take more bases, right? Get upgrades. Thomas is getting a church. Ooh, so we see this castle, this priest play now from him as well. And NewType getting an advanced workshop. Interesting.
Yep.
So yeah, I
He's got some
guess
catapults coming out, so that could be catapult drops or just
Yeah.
having one around to help micro. I
Yeah.
think in a 2v2, it's always good to have an advanced workshop at this point in the game, just because like someone's probably going air pretty soon.
Yeah, at some point, especially if you see so many wolves, right? So you expect the
here come the
dragon.
dragons from Holy.
Yeah, it's fine though. It's only 1, I think. So
Yeah,
it's
there's some
okay.
archers already in the main. How good will this reaction be, right? We see them. Oh, perfect reaction by Tomas this time.
Yeah, and we see in the corner, top right, yeah, top right, SlyFox is setting up base already. I like that. I think he cannot take. No, okay, he could have taken this one in the center more, but taking these corner things, I think they are so far out. You can
Yeah, I think that's totally fine.
Yeah, you get them up pretty much in peace, and nobody is really distracting you there. Parking the raider there makes also sense. So yeah, I really like this idea
A little
from
bit of
Sly
warning
here.
if some armies moving in. We're seeing a little bit of indecision from Tomas and NewType, right? Like they won that fight early on and had a bigger army and didn't use that to actually gain a material advantage, right? It's like
Yeah,
I think that's one of the harder decision making kind of things about the mid game. It's like when can you attack and where should you attack? So I feel like they missed a little bit of opportunity to either like punish a third base or at least like keep pressure on so that they like you can use that pressure to understand what your opponent's doing and then like try to force them to react in a certain way.
yeah,
And with lack of that pressure, it's going to allow SlyFox and Holy to just like macro up. You know, they're clearly showing they have the slightly stronger macro in terms of getting up to 4 bases, getting workers going, and being ready to trade out armies.
yeah. The thing is, they spread out armies for NewType and Thomas now because both, like all 4 players are around 100 supply right now. But look at the forces for NewType, for example. Like they're standing around in the map in the main because they were defending this Harris from the dragons, and yeah, now they're kind of running around, and yeah, nothing is really coordinated. And I mean, yeah, Sly and Holy just capitalizing on it.
4 archers down to the south. We've got it's kind of all over the place.
Yeah, and the wolves get free damage, and like there's no focus on anything. And then we have SlyFox coming from behind, following the wolves, getting good damage in as well. So,
Wolves are all going to fall, and that means they're probably going to hold this position.
Yeah, but still, I mean, they are kind of pressured into their own.
Door of this third base. This is going to be tough to defend.
Yeah. The door's kicked in, and now look at the right side of the map. SlyFox
signature priest.
Ooh, and now the fireballs fly. They are nasty versus so many archers.
Yeah, this AoE damage at this phase of the game where you're starting to get more unit count. The archers are just falling off.
Yeah.
We're seeing +1 range on the archers on both sides.
And we see this one catapult, which will make a lot of difference when you have archer versus archer situations.
Couple upgrades for these beasts. That means these dragons are starting to hit harder and harder.
And the ballista missing. They are not here. I think they need airships to carry them around. But look at this, Thomas getting rages as well and firing fireballs as well. Ah, very good, I like that. And NewType are now bringing as well catapults with him. So they kind of push back now, it looks like.
Fights.
Yeah.
Wow. But the damage is done, right? Holy wiped a worker line at the third. There's no 4th base for Tomas.
Yeah.
There's no 4th base for NewType. We're seeing kind of the same thing as last time where, you know, some really good army composition, some really good fights, but you know, at the end of the game, if you're able to just have more money, how do you, you know, it's such a big advantage.
Yeah. You want to take bases, like, all the time. I think I stopped taking bases at 5 bases around 5 bases, or 5 mines. I don't care if it's mined with 1 castle or what, but 5 mines. I need 5 mines, and then I'm good. So then I start thinking about upgrades and stuff. So that's usually
I guess
how
I
it goes.
prefer to run on 4 bases myself, if not 3. Just because I prefer to play like a more mech heavy, and just getting an army up that can like cover that many bases is really challenging. But
Indeed.
I don't know. You gotta play the game, right? You gotta understand what your opponent is doing, and
Yeah, sure.
Everything
Everything is
on how you're gonna
situational.
beat that. His SlyFox building this wall at his opponent's base.
Yeah, I like it. Like this time he's boxing them in. It's not them themselves. I like it.
One tower versus a whole army. Let's see who wins.
Well, the houses are there, and the dragons are there.
So now he can get his army into position to defend. Here come the catapults, and the dragons behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is going to make it really hard for NewType. Like, where does NewType take a 4th right now?
I like this. I like that they kind of hit on 2 ends. Like, Thomas is taking this bridge in the middle across the lava river, and on the other side you have these fireballs hit hard. That hurt. And now we see slow fields and fireballs and ballista and dragons. Oh my god, big fight over here. Dragons dying left, right, and center again. And yeah, and
dragons are kind of milling about, not contributing too much. It's
yeah, because of the ballista, right? Slow fields, heal wards. We see everything. And there's more forces coming.
Army a little bit late. They're showing up to the party.
Yeah, but I think it's still enough.
No more AoE damage though, so they might be able to fight.
Yeah. Thing is now what should they do? Like, where should they hit? I think NewType wants to hit the space to the right from SlyFox, but I feel like the forces are not enough right now. Because
at this point, the econ difference is so big. Like, the only real path to victory, right? You have to kill a base and take a base.
Yeah.
Probably both players need to do this. So yeah, I think going top right is fine. Wipe that base out, establish your own base there. But it's like, now your army's going to be all the way up in the top right, and how do you stop the explosion of Holy down south?
Yeah.
I don't think they know this top right base exists. That's part of the problem. They probably think it's a much closer game than it is.
Yeah. And Holy took the base down to the left as well. Like, yeah. I guess they will find out, but it's too late.
Well, I'm really happy with this games overall, though. Like, these are 4 players that I don't know very much about, and I think all of them are bringing something interesting to the table.
Ooh, give it a fireball. Give it a fireball. Yeah, nice fireball. Hitting everything. Very good. I like it. Don't die. Shit. Died before the cooldown was up for another fireball. Yeah. I mean, Sly now bringing in the forces here, but everything is damaged already, so he will definitely lose it. Firing some fireballs into the blue, not knowing what's there, but trying to hit something. And yeah, I think now they know about the base, so they will hit. But on the other side of the map, the dragons and Holy is freaking annoying again. There's so many dragons.
Kill a base and take a base, and they're only doing one of those 2 things.
Yeah, because they can't. Like, look at the forces from Holy. Like, max supply, wolves, dragons. Like, you don't do shit to them. Like, ballistas don't really work because you have all the wolves, and the dragons killing stuff so fast. Really hard to do.
One thing to note, Holy does have some econ issues. His first base is mined out, and the workers are just kind of standing there. He's only at 68% and 56% on the other mines.
Yeah, he's also floating 1k gold.
3 mining base Holy here.
Yeah.
What do we got in these other folks? Oh, not a lot going on for Tomas here. He's running out of gold.
Yeah. Well,
nothing.
The mean dragons killing everything. But there are 4 ballista. Or even more? I think 4 ballistas, right? Yeah, 4 ballistas here. But they can't get through because there's this weird wall from Thomas, and there's not enough space to get through. So NewType tried his best to help him. But yeah, it didn't work because there is just no way through. There are even 5 ballista. There's another one on the right. So 6 ballistas for NewType. So he just can't use them. Bit unfortunate. And the top right seems like the base is still up for SlyFox. but a lot of units lost their lives here. And it seems like, where were the units for Thomas? He has no units anymore, right?
He's just not mining. I mean, he's got one base and it's barely mining.
Ah, shit.
Now it's not mining at all. So yeah, he can't reinforce. This is what you see is what you get.
Yeah, well, I guess it's now on NewType to kind of do this. I think at that point it makes sense for Thomas, for example, to leave, because in a little wargame, you give your base and everything over to your mate, and he can try his best with one base more, a bit more income. That sometimes works.
I think you should specify that that's out of bounds, right? Because then you could get a situation where, like, if you have one player much better, the worst player could just quit right as the game begins, and it would be a huge advantage.
Yeah.
Which I'm assuming that's just kind of in bad taste, so people won't do that.
Yeah, it's also not fun for the player who's leaving, right? And the player who's stuck on his own after, he can get only to 200 supply, I think, or 250, and not 300. Meaning, you have much. Yeah, you have a bigger supply gap when you are together with your mate. Yeah. Also, I mean, I just mentioned that because the situation I had it with Squareroot, playing versus Sly and Holy, helping them practice, and I was playing with Squareroot, and he got destroyed by them because I didn't help him, and he only had dragons on excavation side. And then he was like, okay, I'm leaving, and then I had to fight my way to victory alone. It was a long battle. I had to kill all the buildings, but I did it. So it really helps. I mean, if your mate is leaving, you really get this income, and it really helps. But yeah, the game is over. NewType, types GG, well played. And yeah, that concludes the 2 versus 2. I think overall it was very close. And just
I enjoyed both these games a lot. Really neat to see how these battles are panning out with the 2v2. Definitely a lot of value in coordinating with your teammate, which is so hard to do. I mean, both these games simply came down to being out macroed. So definitely some room for improvement there. But yeah, this was fun.
Bigger fights are always fun, and you don't really see them too much in 1 versus 1. In 1 versus 1, it's always Harris, and who has the better macro and micro, and yeah, that's it. But in 2 versus 2, I feel like macro is way more important than micro somehow, and the bigger fights are so hard to micro that a move is oftentimes the better, the better action you can do, especially if you have like catapults or archers. So focusing is the most you can do. Maybe moving back some,
I think the map dictates a lot what you just said, right? Like, these were 2 maps that are quite large and quite defensive, and so I think that they're definitely macro 2v2 maps. I'm curious as we get to see more 2v2s and the meta develops and like the mappers can respond, right?
Yeah,
I expect we'll see some more interesting innovations there.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, that concludes the today's series. Thank you for joining again, and everyone have a nice day.
Yeah, thanks. See you around.